This week's shout out goes to Bush Boy Beehives. Looking for delicious raw honey? Then look no further. Taste the difference with unique seasonal varieties of truly wildflower honey produced within healthy beehives, hand packed to ensure all the beneficial enzymes and probiotics remain intact as live functional food. Visit them on their Facebook and also on their website at bushboysbeehives.com. Hey everyone, another week, another review, first review of March, and was particularly excited about this movie, Disney's A Wrinkle in Time. Once I saw the first trailer, I was like, whoa, this looks pretty interesting. I can go buy that. Let's see how it goes. And then found out that it was actually from a novel series and was like, whoa, okay, maybe this has something that it can grow off of. It's got a really good fan base, and let's see how it goes. Just got back from the movie, took my wife to go see it, and we both came out feeling the same way. What way is that? You'll find out right now. So let's dive right into it. Story-wise. So the story is pretty much set in our time, current now, and it's based off this character. Her name is Meg, and she had lost her father 4 years ago, who is this NASA genius scientist. And he theorized that with the mind, you could travel through time, space, and of course, the big almighty universe, right? So, kind of seems a little crazy and everything, but comes to find out, hey, it actually works. But in doing so, he is lost in this continuum, and no one knows he's ever going to come back. Then all of a sudden, Meg's younger brother, Charles Wallace, and I love the fact that they used Charles Wallace throughout the entire movie, because it was just so cool to hear a full name throughout its entirety for a child's name. It was pretty damn good. He is secretly, at least as far as we know, meeting with these warriors of the universe, right? And they come to find out that there's some kind of disturbance, maybe in the Force. Nah, different movie. But they see that there is this calling, and they find out that the calling leads them back to Earth. And who is that calling from? It's Meg, but where is she trying to reach out to? Her father. So apparently her father is lost somewhere in this continuum of space and particles and universe, and they are doing everything they can to try to help her. Well, along the way, she does end up taking her brother and this other character, another boy from school, and they go through this epic universe. They go through these different planets and meet different people and creatures, and visually it just looks so amazing. Once you see, the different planets and the different outfits and styles and characteristics, it's very, engaging to the eyes. You see all these bright colors and creatures and animations, and it is just very cool to look at. But that's it. The story is very much out of place. And I think I did go over this in my podcast last night that I did. For those of you who haven't watched it, podcast Geek Out episode 4, you can watch that on the hear that on the Anchor app right now. I didn't read the book. So going into this, I know there would be some parts maybe I wouldn't understand, but there are a ton of movies that are based off of novels and good books that, they have a guide to go by. And since this book is a big hit, I would presume that it wouldn't be that confusing, especially if you got to see it visually. And it is just all over the place. The basic premise of girl trying to save her father, and facing obstacles is there. If you wanted to say that there was any kind of story, that's what I would tell you. But the rest of it and how it all falters together is just so distracting, and not in a good way. You're trying to figure out exactly why these things are happening and what is happening, but you don't really understand any of those things. And by the end conclusion, there is no definitive answer. It just all kind of happens. And even with the dynamic of transitioning from the climax to the ending, I was so lost by the time that everything had finished. All I could think about was, well, why did this happen? And what caused that to happen? But is just the simplicity of it's just a rescue kind of mission story. That's it. Because there was just so much time wasted. I felt that they could have done so much more depth. So the story was not particularly good in my eyes. I don't think it did a very good job of flowing through everything, and I'm still confused. Maybe at some point I'll watch it again in Redbox just to kind of figure out what, or maybe even read the book to gain more knowledge. But on that note, after watching the movie, I did go on to forums and did go and speak with other people who watched the movie who had read the book. And most, I would say majority of people had almost the same reaction where I was like, well, how did it compare to the book? Well, how did it compare to the book? Did you like it? Did it do a good job portraying the book? Like those are the answers that I got. Moving on to the characters, however, which this was one of my favorite parts. Was the young actress and actors of the film. I thought they all did pretty well. There's definitely some that stood out way more than others, and I'm not necessarily sure if it's because of performance, but I do feel like their lines in particular were much better than some of the others. Some of the lines felt a little dry for the characters, and obviously the emphasis of pushing, the character to make the emotion there, makes it all worth as far as the character and the dialogue, right? Well, this girl Storm Reed, right? She is the main character who plays Meg. She was phenomenal. I mean, she was such a pleasure to watch while she was on screen, going through all her emotions and growing. And it was just really cool to see the growth of the character, from being very shy and emotional to trying to be very strong and forceful. It just fit really well, and I really enjoyed the character. The other character that I really liked, actor, is Derek McCabe, and this was the younger brother, and he did very well. He was another joy to watch on screen. Just watching this young actor feel very confident. The role was confident, but also you could tell while he was doing it, he felt very confident in doing that. So that was really nice to see. It was pretty cool. The other characters, the young kids, I thought their lines were very dry, and it was just okay. Chris Pine, although his role is not throughout, was very well done. And I mean, Chris Pine, whenever he's on, he gives 110%. Reese Witherspoon was excellent. She's another character where I felt she overlooked a lot, not just because she had more lines, but the fact that she pushed her lines further than anybody else. And Oprah's role was okay. Not that she was bad in it, but I just felt it was a very underdeveloped character, or underwhelming character for her, and I think they could have pushed it a bit more, even with the lines that she had. I think there could have been a little more force or a little more vision into there. So but overall I thought the cast was pretty good, and I thought some definitely stood out more, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Storm Reed in some other films, and looking forward to the other young stars as well. So now to the score. The score was very confusing to me. There were a few moments where it felt very good, and then throughout, just like the rest of the film, the sounds just felt so out of place. In times where it felt like it should have been very tormented and defeated, it was a very easy flowing score, and then when it was supposed to be more of a happier time, the sound was very dry. I would have to say at the beginning and at the end were the best moments, and I think that's because they did a good job of opening up the film and then closing it out. But everything in between is just kind of lost. But I'll play you guys a piece right now, as I always do. Please enjoy. All right, so that sounds great. It's so nice and fluid, and it has a lot of emotion to it, and it's particularly, at the beginning, it flows very well into what you think is going to be this awesome story, and then just expand from there. But the music is confusing as well, and I out of the three big things that I do my reviews based off of, the score I feel like is overall the best in any movie that I review, and this one definitely fell short of that. So, um, Disney, unfortunately, I am giving A Wrinkle in Time 2 out of 4 stars. I don't believe if you um, if you have read the book, I don't feel like if you go into this, you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, they did an amazing job just from the reactions that I've got and that I have read at. And then as someone like me who is very interested to go see the film based off of, all this overwhelming, positivity and, community that has a fan base of this series, you're going to be left very confused. So for me, it's a 2 out of 4. If you're interested, I would wait for a Redbox to go ahead and visit. I may watch it again in Redbox just to kind of revisit everything, but I still don't think, even if I watched it a second time, it would really flow. So thanks again, guys. That's my review for Wrinkle in Time. I'll have my Geek Out Episode 5 podcast out for you next week. And also next week, there is a good possibility I will do a double feature review. And what those two movies will be, maybe you have a hint or two, but we'll see. If you guys don't want any spoilers or to hear my geek out moment, go ahead and leave now. But please be sure to like me on my Twitter page, also on my Instagram, Facebook, and please subscribe to my YouTube where this will be posted. Thank you guys so much. So whoever one stays for the geek out moment, right? My favorite part actually was after all the confusion started to begin and there was a bit more action was when the three warriors, Reese Witherspoon, Oprah, and, the other actress, they go ahead and go by and they're in this planet. And I forget what the planet is called, but it's this evil planet where all the terror begins. And the holy ruler of this planet is known as the It. And it's this nice, very hay field, very nice hay field, blue skies, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, once they all clear, and it's just left with the three young characters, these trees and forests and all this stuff just start piling up, and then one of the kids gets lost. And it is just so cool visually to see this forest just come out of nowhere, and it goes from this bright, beautiful field of hay to this very dark and eerie forest. And then all you start seeing is they start looking over and the trees just start flying everywhere. And the emotions on their face as they go through are spot on, fantastic. If I saw flying trees after the forest has popped out of nowhere, I'd be freaking out too. So they start running in the opposite direction, and then all of a sudden you start seeing an image as the trees are flying up of this twister, this huge tornado, and it is just massive, and all the detail of the little rocks and tree stumps and soil, all this good stuff flying around. It just looks cool. And then all of a sudden, then the weather changes. There's a lot of rain and thunder, and lightning starts striking the tornado. And visually, like I said about the movie, it is just stunning. It's really cool to see. And this is the part that I really like because Meg's character, played by Storm Reed, she gets very emotional. And you could tell at this point the determination of what her goal is really sets in, and she just takes force and has this idea to get into this stump with her friend, and it ends up flying out like kind of like a slingshot way. And because her father was this great genius, she kind of had the same kind of ideas as he did. So that was really cool, and visually, like I said, it was just absolutely awesome to see. So thanks again, guys, for watching my review. Please like and subscribe if you did. You can also watch my other reviews right here on YouTube. And for everyone on my Facebook page, thank you again for all the support and follows. If you guys haven't already, please follow me on Twitter, Spaniard Reviews, and also my Instagram. And catch my podcast. It's a weekly podcast, and it's on the Anchor app. You can download it now for free. Create an account, and you can find me there, Spaniard Reviews. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.